Good evening. Welcome along to Business Today. I'm Jerome Paul Sonko with Winnie Wiyinza Nakauchi on Sign Language here with your daily report. Speaking of which, as we look at what we have for you in our top stories tonight, we will be looking at the Consumer Protection Bill, the police withdrawal, as well as Uganda launching a satellite, among many of the other reports. Speaking of which, we start with Uganda, which has successfully launched its first satellite, which will help the nation progress technologically. As of now, November 7th, 2022, the Pearl of Africa SAT is in the orbit. The Minister of Science and Innovation, Honorable Monica Mosenero, presided over this historical ceremony and thanked the 3 engineers who helped the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency build this particular satellite. Let's have more of the details.
Yes. Yes. We have launched. We have sent our satellite to space. Our satellite went aboard the rocket which took off, as many of you have witnessed. And it was written there that Uganda said the launch was successful.
The Pearl Africa Sat-1 satellite was constructed as part of the joint Global Multinational Bird Satellite Project. Uganda is now one of the numerous African, Asian and South American countries benefiting from the Bird Satellite Initiative, which was launched in 2015 by the Japanese Kyushu Institute of Technology. The National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, a U.S. government organization, was given control of the satellite when it had completed all necessary tests and was ready for flight into space. The International Space Station is where the satellite was then launched, and it will be there in around 15 hours.
Next, to get to work. Get to work. We need to make sure the Earth Station is ready. We have made a lot of progress. The installation of the equipment which we got and preparing such that by the time it is actually deployed in the orbit and starts sending information, our station here is ready. Secondly, get to work to make sure that the structure of the program, how it is going to be, the components, you know, it is going to have a lot of components. We have security components, we have civilian components, we have data to collect, we have analysis of data, we have to develop the business plan, because this is not only going...
When we are developing the satellite, we define missions. So the most important mission for the satellite was on how we can contribute to Uganda's economy. And the backbone of Uganda's economy is agriculture. So we defined the first primary mission for the satellite towards the agriculture sector.
The satellite was created by 3 Ugandan engineers, Edgar Mujuni, Boni Omara and Derek Tebusweke, who are enrolled at the Kyushu Institute of Technology in Japan after signing a collaboration agreement with the Ugandan government in 2019. They point to flaws in Uganda's education system as a barrier to innovation.
How long has it taken me? Approximately, we started the whole journey from April 2020 up to this year 2022 when we handed over to JAXA. So I could say approximately maybe 18 months.
The Pearl Africa Sat-1 will offer research and observation data in 6 main areas, including weather forecast, land, water and mineral mapping, monitoring of agriculture, infrastructure development, border security and disaster preparedness.
Many agencies in Uganda are going to be beneficiaries of the data. We have the Minister of Agriculture is going to be a beneficiary in planning our agricultural production. The Minister of Minerals, Energy and Minerals is going to be a very immediate beneficiary. The Minister of Water is going to be an immediate beneficiary. Disaster preparedness, security, defense, they are all going to be immediate beneficiaries from this program.
In this case, is agricultural fields. We want to see and classify the soil according to its type and the fertility level. That is our area of interest. We want to perform what we call property mapping. I did over the media that we are digitizing the land title and all that. How is this being done? We have the satellite images. We know that your piece of plot starts from point A to point Z. So we map that, we highlight it, and we tag that to your names. If you sell the transfer can be easily done.
One of the engineers, Edgar Mujuni, assures Ugandans that compliance to government rules would be monitored.
Mineral mapping and exploration. We can be able to tell that, okay, in this area we have this deposit of iron ore or this gold and things like that. And then we do not only stop at, identifying where these minerals are located. We can move ahead and also try to determine how much, the quantity, how big is it, so that we can know that, we can know and project that probably in the next 50 years, the government can depend on this mineral.
Honorable Matia Kasaija, the Minister for Finance, Planning and Economic Development, stated earlier this year that a ground station in Impoma district of Mukono in central Uganda will receive data from this satellite. This satellite's data will be utilized, among other things, in meteorology, environmental monitoring, and urban planning. As a result, the government acknowledges that research serves as both a vehicle and catalyst for all other sectors' progress. Mary Goret Nachiganda, Business Today, Smart 24 TV.
All right, now our eyes set to the Consumer Protection Bill. Now, as Parliament is set to rediscuss the Consumer Protection Bill by coupling the different sections of consumer protection laws, today we delve into understanding the different facets entailed within the bill.
The Trade, Tourism and Industry Committee will introduce legislation to protect consumers from deceptive advertising, predatory pricing and poor products. Despite the fact that the nation has several laws protecting consumers, it is impossible to rely on them because they are scattered. The Uganda National Bureau of Standards Act Section 3, the Contracts Act 2010 is Section 10, the Sale of Goods and Supply of Services Act Section 13, the National Drug Policy and Authorities Act Section 5, and the Food and Drug Acts Sections 1, 2 and 3 are just few of the important provisions that were mentioned.
Trade Committee, under Rule 159, has decided to come up with a private members bill entitled the Consumer Protection Law. This bill, amongst others, has a sole purpose to safeguard the consumers from purchasing goods and services which are defective, deceptive, or fraudulent. The consumers are the most important aspect in any business sector. The fact is, business cannot and will not thrive without consumers. Indeed, businesses have rights, but analogously, so do consumers.
The bill aims to safeguard consumers from all forms of financial and health exploitation. High price exposes citizens to financial exploitation, whereas consumption of poor items exposes them to health exploitation.
We are bringing this bill for the following reasons. One, to protect the consumers from false advertisements. We have seen advertisements on televisions with fake claims, and people end up buying these commodities. We have seen it in the kombucha drinks and several more goods out there. Two, we're also going to bring a bill to protect the rights of our consumers' safety, especially with the health. We have seen alcohol being sold to minors and several other drugs that are being sold to minors and so much more. We're also going to protect our consumers from predatory lending. We have seen people lending our Ugandans, who are meant to be consumers, money which is believed to have easy credit. However, it has exorbitant repayment rates and also at times has hidden fees.
Once implemented, the country would be spared from facing difficulties in the global market because whenever it exports inferior goods and products with no value added, it has no impact on external supply chains.
By this, we are going to be protecting our consumers from consuming the unfair products which are on the market. And also, when I speak on the economics world, it will save us, it will save our country from struggling with the international market. Whenever we keep exporting substandard products and non-value adding products, we shall be outcompeted But when we introduce this law, it will help our country to protect our products and to outcompete on the international market.
I think this bill will also help Uganda to stop being a dumping center, because many Ugandans and many traders have made it a policy to bring the cheap things that they can sell to people cheaply, which are also poor quality. So Uganda has often been a dumping center for most of the poor quality products. So with this bill, because we shall be curbing those that have poor quality products, therefore those that have been importing them will cease importing them.
Following a series of compiling different sections of the Consumers Protection Laws, the Parliament is set to come up with a consumer protection bill that will be influential in protecting consumers from all sorts of exploitation, that is, financial and health related. Desire Nambiru, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
All right, now, the withdrawal of police stations from various parts of the country has alarmed lawmakers, particularly those from the central region, who said that leaving people on their own will lead to a rise in crime. How about this in this report?
After the recent attack on the Usika police post in Luweero district, it is unclear why police are removing their patrols from the various parts of the nation. As a result of the recent police operation, the legislators, particularly those from the impacted areas, have raised alarm, stating that it is now obvious that their constituents and their companies have been left on their own.
My concern is the security of the people, because the mandate of the police is in Article 212 of the Constitution. The functions of the police is to protect the people first and their property. Now, if the police is attacked and the police decides to run away, I don't know the local people are remaining with the who, because I will not use a simpler word. I will use the word running away, because they are giving a reason that since they are attacked, they have to go away. I don't know which better word I can use other than running away. So if the police is running away from its duty, that simply means in English abdication. If they are abdicating on their duty, they are actually working in contravention of the Constitution.
Over time, the crime rate has been increasing. The crime rate in Uganda is not decreasing any one day. It's very unfortunate and very unfortunate that today they are closing police posts. First and foremost, we have to get information, we have to get details as to why they put these police stations in the first place. What aren't they doing? What are they doing? What is the problem? Is it the expense of these police posts that has become a problem? Why exactly are we seeing this closure?
According to legislators, Parliament spent over 840 billion shillings, with a portion of that money going towards purchasing patrol cars and other crime-fighting equipment. However, police posts continue to be attacked, and to make matters worse, the police have resorted to retreating from such regions.
Got the appropriation of the budget as they requested. We also catered for those police posts, including payment of their rent. I don't know now what they are going to use that money for, because the budget was inclusive of paying rent even for those police posts. Now, if you withdraw and run away, what is that money going to do? The IGP has not come out to inform the country exactly why they took a decision like that.
Honorable Umu says that criminals are now aware that police has left their areas and that the locals worry their businesses are at risk, and so they cannot sleep at night because of the fact that there is no police to protect them.
A few days ago, one resident of Mityana South called Matumbwe was raided by some gang, and he was cut, he was hurt, simply because the thieves, the criminals are aware that the police is now not there, so they can do in any way they please. I can give you an example. From Sekanyonyi, where the police post was withdrawn, the nearest now is Busunju, which is 9 kilometers away. The other one, which is near to that one, is again another 9 kilometers away, which is in Namungo.
Samla Hanifa, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
And right now, let's look at export of labor in the country. In August 2005, President Yoweri Museveni unveiled the unemployment legislation, outlining the steps that job seekers, recruiting firms and the government should take to implement labor export. Now, the stakeholders raise awareness of the value of labor export to the economy. More in this report.
Labor export refers to labor service exports as assessed by worker remittances. Additionally, it aims to increase employment possibilities, safeguard workers' rights, and outline key procedures for licensing employment firms that will export job seekers from Uganda. The money that comes from many nations to process passports, support training, and allow transfers from workers abroad gives the Ugandan government foreign earnings.
The labor externalization sector or labor migration sector in Uganda contributes huge sums of money to the economy, and majorly through the foreign earning. And the foreign earning comes in based on the bilateral labor agreement, for example, the government of Uganda signed, but even those who are taken to work in other countries. For those that go to Saudi Arabia, where the Ugandan government has a bilateral labor agreement, the bilateral was signed based on the International Labour Standard, which is the employer pays principle. The employer pays principle requires you, the employer, to pay the recruitment process of the person you're going to employ. And this brings in the $1,100 that we normally speak about that the government of Uganda negotiated.
Companies that export labor have criticized gaps in the government oversight of this industry, claiming that these gaps have rendered their operations ineffective. However, various variables contribute to the labor concerns made by the exported workers. Stakeholders provide guidance on how to address these obstacles.
We have some of us in our homes who mistreat our domestic workers, and there are some of those that treat them well. So it's the same thing, but generally, I discourage those that are working as domestic workers, or if you have to come and work as a domestic worker, come on an unemployment visa when you already have a signed contract, because the law will protect you. In the UAE, if you are there legally, they have very stringent rules and regulations pertaining the relationship between the employer and the employee. So for skilled labor, like now, out of the projected 100,000 Ugandans living and working in UAE, 95% are doing skilled jobs, professional jobs. That's why the remittances have increased from $50 million in 2018 to about $200 million apparently.
Ideally, all these will face different reasons, different challenges. But to be specific to the ones in the Middle East, those that have gone through what we call regular migration or legal processes, when you look at the numbers that I've given you, for example, in Saudi Arabia, we have over 165,000 Ugandans there. You will register a complaint. You will have people who cannot work well with the employers. And when you look at most of the people we take who are going to work in homes as a category of domestic workers, the nature of that office, a home, will always have challenges, just like it is here. But what is important to note is that there are mechanisms that we put in place to be able to give assistance to these distressed Ugandans. And though a lot needs to be, of course, done, which includes monitoring by the government of Uganda, but at that level, even the companies, individual companies, have gone ahead to deploy what we call supervisors.
Out in a shift in the situation, the export labor agencies are required to have only Ugandan directors, 50 million Ugandan shillings in the bank, and requirements for each employee. Given the high percentage of unemployment and underemployment, this should be excellent news for all Ugandans.
As a country, first of all, we should focus more on externalizing skilled or professional labor, because they are someone, first of all, the pay is high. Number two, you find that they work in public places, so the companies are governed by international law, international standards and rules, like on protection of human rights, the image and the rest. But for domestic workers, Yes, I would say that there are those employers who employ domestic workers and are good.
Export labor is increasingly seen as the most profitable way of global trading, with less investment and more money in the country through remittances. For many years, many Ugandans have gone abroad for work in vain. But they are advised to go under the employment visa such that in case of any challenges faced, the law can protect them. Bronya Katsime, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
And now let's have a look at the dollar million growth in the country. As in 10 years, there should be 1,563 millionaires in Uganda who will likely contribute 6,000 to 65,434, that is close to the GDP. Due to more favorable economic environments in the two East African community states, Uganda and Rwanda have seen a significant increase in the number of resources, gold and oil, and super rich people with investment-grade assets worth more than $100 million during the past 10 years. We have more of this report.
The increase in wealth in Uganda is a sign of success in many areas of development. This shows the rise of frontier economy, which are the ones that are growing the fastest globally. Uganda's tropical climate hasn't prevented the expansion of new markets, making it a leader in the transition from subsistence to modernity, which demonstrates an improvement in economic growth.
With that growth, it also changes the whole narrative that we have been having in Africa, that traditionally we have been seeing wealth management concentrated on the extreme points of the continent, in South and also in North America, particularly in Morocco and Egypt. But now when such reports hint to countries like Uganda, Rwanda, it gives an indication that we are having a rise in frontier economies that are now positioning themselves to be the best investment destinations across the world. But of course we know that has been the structure of, we can contribute it to the geography of our country, because we see the tropics region where Uganda falls has been a bit disadvantaged on the geographical account. That geography tends to limit us because the tropics climate is a hub, or it favors settlement of pests and diseases, and those affect our productivity. But also in terms of terrain, it is bad. We lack navigable rivers, which all increase the transportation costs that we incur, but also on the account of natural resources, which we know have been a curse to us. So coming up with those countries that are challenging this geographical nature is a good indication. And these countries are positioning themselves to be emerging markets within the African continent.
Uganda is diversifying its mining sector, which includes oil and gold, and this will earn us more money, create more dollar millionaires, and therefore expand the country's GDP. There will be growth, but it will occur over the next 10 years as we prepare for the impending mineral revolution.
Well, in maybe a decade, yes, but that is largely because of the extractive industry, oil and gold. It's going to create a lot of millionaires. Okay? But Kenya's economy today is about twice the size of Uganda. We're at about $97 billion. We're at about 44, 45, depends on who you speak to.
By 2032, the number of rich citizens in Uganda will have significantly increased. According to the research, there are currently 1,563 millionaires in Uganda who collectively control at least 37 billion shillings in private sector. At least 1,500 of these individuals fall under the category of high net worth individuals having assets over $1 million, and 60 of them are multimillionaires having fortunes of at least $10 million.
By 2032, Uganda will have experienced a sustainable growth in the economy. This is going to be due to the fact that there is going to be a high number of super rich individuals and the mineral revolution, that is the gold and oil. Researchers also give us their report about this, claiming that our country will be having a great growth in the wealth, hence a good economy and a sustainable economy. Martha Nimsima, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
All right, now Business Today does take a break. We do return with more, including the coffee court.
Doha. This is Qatar. We come together tonight, 1 billion of us, in every corner of the globe where the beautiful game matters.
Here for the show-stopping magic of a moment.
Get a DSTV decoder at only 79,000 shillings with 1 month free on access and upgrade to DSTV Compact for 56,000 shillings to enjoy all 64 matches.
Did you know? For the work or invention to be protected by copyright, there are two basic elements that must be attained as per Section 4 of the Copyright and Neighbouring Rights Act 2006, and that is originality, which means work has to be original from the creator, and when it's not a copy of someone else's work. Another element is fixation, and as soon as the creator of work record or writing down his idea, then it's fixed and can have a copyright over it. Therefore, copyright right protection only extends to new ideas which are fixed, and it should be noted that copyright does not consider quality of the work or any formality.
Smart 24, driving business. All right, we'll be back from the break. Let's continue with more business today. Now we look at the farmers living in poverty. When you look at the agricultural sector, which has contributed roughly 24.143% of the GDP and 33% of the export revenue in the fiscal year 2021-2022, according to the Uganda Bureau of Statistics. Now, agriculture employs over 703% Ugandans working population. However, it is still said that the 2 out of 3 of the population of those who work in agriculture are still considered to be living in poverty. Monica Nabyunga with the details.
In order to end household poverty, President Yoweri Museveni has urged youth and the nation at large to participate in commercial agro production and value addition. However, many Ugandans have so far been unable to add value to their products for a variety of reasons, most notably lack of funding.
The sensitization, first of all, we have to work on mindset change. Our farmers must know that we can no longer live tradition. We must move with the times. We must change our technologies. The technologies, people have also the adoption of the technologies. As a research organization, we've developed technology, but uptake, how fast they are taking the technologies is also another area that we need to address, serious. As a sector that employs over 70% of the population is not well funded. When you look at the national budget, agriculture is not having the biggest share in the national budget. But we hope that the leaders will look at this, since this is a sector that employs most of the Ugandans, then we can improve on the funding so that we push more money into agriculture and we shall be able to improve on the people's lives.
The amount government allocated to the agriculture industry in the financial year 2022-2023 was 1.45 trillion, indicating a 13.2% decrease from the 1.64 trillion in the previous financial year 2021-2022. Value adding is crucial for farmers since it provides a plan for turning a loss-making business into a successful one. In reality, there are relatively few goods that a small farmer in Uganda can produce and sell profitably at the first level, which is why NARO developed a variety of high-yielding crops and places strong emphasis on commercializing value addition.
The mandate is to conduct agricultural research, so we develop superior varieties, cassava varieties, maize varieties, and when I say superior, it means they are high-yielding, they are resistant to pests and diseases, they are tolerant to drought, so they are climate smart. So when it comes to the value addition bit, NARO is pushing the commercialization aspect of everything, and we encourage, or we add value to products and our commodities by commercializing them.
Numerous problems, including soil depletion, crop illness that are incurable, climate change, a rapidly growing population, and land fragmentation, are faced by agriculture sector. The easiest way to handle this is to increase the value on organic products without reducing their original nutritional content. Monica Nabionga, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
All right, now, the Uganda Performing Rights Society is governed by the Uganda Registration Services Bureau and receives its authority from the Act of the Copyright and Neighboring Rights Act of 2006, which is also an act. Now, the act specifies how copyright or adjacent rights are acquired, what is eligible for protection under the act, how protected the works may be used by third parties, and more to approach. But in tonight's Coffee Court, we discuss more of the copyright and get deeper into the music industry.
Well, one of the critical sectors that we can never neglect as government is the art industry. This time around on the Coffee Court, we digest where it has come from, where it is, and we project what contribution does this make in the economy of Uganda. Joining me to discuss this is Mr. Benon Mugumbya. He's a director for Swans Avenue. Mr. Mugumbya, thank you for joining us.
Pleasure is all mine. Thanks for having me.
Okay. The art industry, how critical is this industry?
I like to believe that the art industry is the reflection of a society. If the society is in a destitute state,
okay,
the art industry helps to make it out, to make that aware to the whole world. If there's peace and happiness, there's love, still the other world will get to know about that society through the art. They'll basically amplify whatever the society is going through. So we are not necessarily whistleblowers, but I'm looking for the right word. We are the guys that sound the drum and advertise the society, whatever is happening, be it political, be it lovey-dovey stuff, be it religion.
So whatever that happens indoors, it is what you exactly put out.
We put it out there.
You seem to be saying this is it's more of a social activity, is it?
You could say that, but I believe, every society has that, social part of, and I believe it's what makes us fall in love with the society. Sometimes encourage, sometimes give hope, and that sort of thing.
Okay. Where has it come from?
Where has it come from? I don't think I have the right answers to that. I can only say where I've come from with it, and a little bit of what I've had that happened before.
Okay.
And with this, I believe you're asking Uganda.
I'm asking, of course, in the context of this country.
Yeah. I think it has always been in existence from the days of our grandfathers and, from the days of Chintu, if you believe in our...
the tradition.
Yeah. otherwise we would not have, traditional instruments or painters or what we call abawesi. Yeah, so art has always been part of us. So it's just the dynamics that are changing in terms of how it's consumed, how it's distributed, but it's something that has always been with us, and especially in Africa, it has always been a form of communication or passing on knowledge from our elders to the young kids. It's been a way of learning, so now it has just
it has resolved from somewhere to where we are.
Yes.
Now, bring us to speed on what is happening. You've talked about perception as a key pillar. Do you think the public is perceiving this industry in the right manner? Perception of the industry.
That's very broad. We have situations where it's abused, and we have had.
So critical.
Yeah, and it's very broad. I don't know how long you're sure.
No, how broad? It is okay. We in the minutes that we have.
I'll touch on something that I feel has. I'll give an example. When did we have elections? Last year. Yeah? Was it last year, beginning of this year?
2020.
Yeah, we almost had a musician in power. And it goes to show that, art is a big deal now. Okay. In society, and it's something that you cannot strip away, or it's now hand in hand with
inevitable.
Yeah. Be it whether you are a pastor, a president, at least you consume art. You listen to music. You appreciate art somewhere, somehow.
Okay. Something inevitable is something you can't do away with.
Yes.
It means it is something very, very important.
True.
Let's now discuss the economics of this industry, the art industry. In your view, what do you think is the contribution of this industry to the development of this country?
What's the contribution of art? So a lot of people think the main beneficiaries is the artist, that musician, the painter, but
is that the wrong thinking?
It's much bigger than that. Me as a person who has worked in the background, I'll paint for you a picture. Let's say, next weekend we have a big festival, Eddie Kenzo Festival. So straight away we shall imagine, Eddie Kenzo is going to make money. But guess what? Yeah, he's going to make money because he's putting up a show. But he's going to need production, that is stage, lighting, sound, other musicians that are going to play for him.
Okay.
Yeah. At the festival, we shall need food. Yeah. People that are going to prepare food. We shall need security, bouncers. We shall need. So you see that there's a trickle-down effect. There are a lot of beneficiaries that are going to gain from just this one guy who's going to put up a show. You understand? So a lot of families are going to benefit, and not necessarily, not that they are musicians or they're going to play alongside Eddie Kenzo. No, I might be a bouncer, but I know I'll get paid because of my services. I might be that guy who operates lights, and that's my specialty. I know that every weekend, if a musician has a gig, my services will be needed. So
it's a wrong thinking for us to say.
Yeah, you find that the sector alone employs a lot of these other people, and not just people in the arts, but in different different sectors as well.
So you remember when COVID-19 had just hit this country? Of course, it's one of the key sectors that was actually greatly affected. If a show is cancelled, how much is lost?
Of course, it depends on the different commitments that were made for the show. I'll just give an example of one of the shows that we usually do, Roast and Rhyme. So you have to book a venue, and by booking, it's not just verbal. You pay off the venue.
You pay the money cash.
Yeah, so that your date is secured. Then you have several, a big list of service providers, from sound, stage, lighting. Then you have vendors, that are going to sell food or different items that revealers love to enjoy. From drinks. So some of these people, you make commitments, financial commitments. Then the performers, you make deposits. So if a show is cancelled, you lose all that money, because it's not your supplier's fault that the show is cancelled. Yeah. So it's usually there's a financial implication.
Okay. So let's talk about now copyright. I know it's one of those laws that govern the art industry. Do you think this has really helped?
From my point of view, I feel we as the stakeholders, we need to take time and educate ourselves, and really get a good understanding of how this law operates, how we stand to benefit.
Are you suggesting that it's a law that people have not understood?
Yeah, and both the stakeholders and the police, or whatever body that is supposed to help implement the law. You find so many situations that so many of us are infringing that law, knowing or unknowingly. Plus also, I believe the police or the public in general does not really understand how this law works. I've been to places whereby you see public where, let's say, it's a public place and they are displaying content that's not meant to be displayed in the public, or a lot of TV stations playing content that, so, and I believe some of these, situations, people don't really know that they are infringing the copyright law.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who is to do the education, in your view?
A bit of both, as the stakeholders and the government. If we want to really benefit, it's difficult to implement something you don't understand. Or, so I think it's on us and partly the government.
Okay.
So,
and that's where exactly I'll bring you to the point of government. So do you really think government has been that very fundamental in boosting the art industry?
I think the government can really do so much. I look at the government as my mother. Me growing up, we had some challenges, but she did her best to make sure that we got good schools.
About the core government.
Yeah.
Not in the context.
Yeah.
You're
So
bringing it forth.
I think there's a lot that government still needs to do, for, things like the infrastructure, for us to enjoy the.
You seem to be suggesting that let government leave you in your comfort zone and let it concentrate on other core issues.
It's not really a comfort zone, don't get me wrong. But
you've already attained it, you've reached a point of...
And we're not yet there, but I would rather we have better hospitals, better roads, the education, schools. I'm not saying we don't need government's help, but
you're saying they've done. They've done enough for the industry.
No. We are not yet there. But I think there are more pressing issues than our sector.
Okay.
But I stand to be correct. I'm not saying we don't need the help. But I think it would be much better if certain things were worked on first.
So are you satisfied where the industry is now that you're saying government should concentrate on those other core issues?
You're putting me on the spot here. All I'm saying is there's still a lot to be done, and not just in our sector, in the health sector, transportation, education. I think you see some of these things, once the people are healthy, once people can move, once we have a solid infrastructure, you will find that also the other sectors will blossom just because there are systems in place and the engine is running, the wheel is rotating smoothly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And maybe as a key senior driving factor in this industry, what's your final recommendation to those in the art industry?
I would say that we have a role to play, and we should not wait for government. I believe the government will be encouraged to join us when we are moving.
So when you say we, you seem to be suggesting let's leave government in its own corner, and then we also operate in our own corner. And yet I understand that government is a key stakeholder in driving some of the fundamental.
No, most definitely we need government, but that should not stop us from starting the engine.
Okay.
Otherwise, if we're just going to sit and wait, what if it never comes? Yeah. So all I'm saying is, at least let's start with the baby steps.
Okay.
So that, by the time the government comes in to help, we are somewhere.
Mr. Pedro Mugumbia, thank you for speaking to us. He's the director here at Swans Avenue. We know that the art industry is one of those critical industries that contributes a lot to the economy of this country. This is the Coffee Court, and my name is Fred Makubia.
And now we move forward by looking at the benefits of sustainability programs in the country. The National Social Security Fund is chairman of the Board of Directors, Dr. Peter Chimboa, has advised businesses to continually prioritize sustainability initiatives in the country. He points out that the top-tier status is not applicable to any financial institution without a sustainability report.
Companies convey their performance through sustainability reporting, which also helps them to be more open about the risks and opportunities they face, offering stakeholders a better understanding of performance that goes beyond the bottom line. During the celebration of the CEO apprenticeship graduation, Dr. Peter Chimboa, the chairman of the NSSF board, provided funds with guidance to consistently put sustainability projects first if they are to compete for top-tier status.
Have told me that we come from one of the top banks. Do you have a sustainability report? You don't have. So you have no qualification to consider yourself to be in top tier. The description of a top-tier company is something else.
Chimboa emphasizes the need for businesses to begin hiring sustainability chief executives.
Most influential individuals in an organization are going to be sustainability chiefs. It's going to be something sustainable. How can you project the future of this country in terms of reputation, in terms of compliance, in terms of attractiveness to investors? Consumers, investors, regulators, activists, and so are going to be looking at your sustainability footprint.
Stephen Mukasa, the CEO Summit Country Head, states that they are eager to open up a sustainability center that will assist in creating appropriate financial documentation.
About sustainable companies, we're talking about purpose-first companies. It's no longer all about profit. We are thinking beyond profit, thinking about the consumer. Are we going to leave the world a better place? At what cost are manufacturers producing commodities? Do they have sustainability in mind? Now there's a new phenomenon called ESG, talking about the environment, talking about the social aspect, talking about governance, hence sustainability. And at the CEO Summit, we are looking at launching the Sustainability Center.
Sustainability reporting helps make organizations' decision-making process more efficient and in turn enables them to reduce risks across their supply chain. This process also reduces waste, yielding significant cost savings. Pedson Mumbere, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
And many thanks for being part of Business Today. It is Monday, 7th of November 2022, steadily moving into the year 2023 with only 1 month and a few weeks left. Hope you're definitely going in harder to make sure that you earn some good money before the year closes, or you've hit your annual aspirations for 2022. I'm Jerome Paul Sonko with Winnie Williams and Nakauchi on Sign Language, and we've been coming to you live from Plot 42, Nile Avenue. This is Smart 24 TV. Good evening.